And this is the 5-Minute Podcast Review for Friday, June 29, 2018, with a few more podcasts you might want to check out. First up is Inside Jaws, which is a deep dive, pun intended, into the story of the making of the movie Jaws. You might have heard earlier series of this podcast, Inside Psycho and Inside the Exorcist, both of which I'd recommend. Inside Jaws seems to be following the same style. As I said, a truly deep dive. The first 2 episodes are up now, and yet we haven't really even got into the making of the movie. Instead, the first 2 episodes flesh out the events, an actual series of shark attacks off New Jersey in the early 1900s that inspired Jaws, and also the early life of Jaws director Steven Spielberg. Whether into movies or just like good, rich and layered storytelling, Inside Jaws is a good series to get into, either now as it's unfolding or download and store for a later binge listen. Next up is a podcast recommendation emailed in from Alex, who is in Hawaii. You might remember I put a call out for listener suggestions a few weeks ago, and one of the main reasons I did that was to increase the diversity of recommendations I can give you. Alex is certainly helping out with his suggestion. It's a podcast called Why Are People Into That? Each episode focuses on an aspect of human sexual behaviour and non-judgmentally asks the question, why are people into that? So if you've ever wondered why on earth anyone would enjoy being spanked, for example, and according to this episode it really does hurt, then episode 18, a whole hour and a half of it, will have you wondering no more. But there's much more, with over 100 episodes covering just about every fetish, kink and behaviour you can think of. I haven't yet had the chance to get through many episodes, but Alex writes in his covering email that all episodes are dealt with in a straightforward but good-humoured way, with the explanations as to why are people into that, covering all the reasons from the psychological and the physiological right through to the anecdotal. So check out the episode listing of Why Are People Into That, and you'll definitely find some interesting listening there. Thanks, Alex. Okay, let's knock off one more. A quick mention of the podcast, Is There Something in This? Now, it seems like every comedian in the world has a podcast, and Scott Dooley and Jason Chatfield have joined the list with their podcast, where each episode they generate ideas for New Yorker magazine cartoons. They do this over a few beers and the microphone. They've actually had a few cartoons published, which is no mean feat, and this has spurred on more idea generation and pitching and more episodes. And in each episode, we hear the results of the last round of pitching and then listen in as new ideas are generated. Episodes run around an hour, and there's a fair bit of chatter that's at best only indirectly related to the cartoon idea generation, but still, it's an interesting idea, and it may be up your alley if you're into New Yorker cartoons. So there you go, 3 new podcasts to check out: Inside Jaws, Why Are People Into That? And Is There Something in This? As usual, links to all should be on your screen, or just search the titles on your podcast player. And keep the podcast suggestions coming in. My email address is also on your screen. See you in the next episode, and thanks for listening.